Hello and welcome to episode 23 of my Endwalker playthrough. So we've got the Ep23 done. As it happens, one of the Ep23 quests did actually take me to the location of the last two, so we're just waiting for the story quest. I also did some of my dailies, that's the wrong window. So Scholar and what is it? Summoner up at 85 as well. I did that mostly because I wanted to be able to run the leveling roulette later and have the possibility of getting 3 Endwalker dungeons rather than 2, because I really don't want a sub-level 50 dungeon again and I keep getting them. But yeah, we are ready to continue on. Let's get our last Aether Current and see if this leads to a dungeon or if this concludes a dungeon. Yeah, we've already spoken to these. This is at level 84, which leads me to think that this is not going to be the dungeon itself. Growing away is fidgeting with nervous energy, but it is far... But is it... But is it from excitement or worry? Oh, what to do, what to do. I promised Living Way I would help, but... Nope, I promised I'd help, so that's what I'll do. The archives are on the second floor of the main plaza in the east wing. Follow me. I suspect the Loprits are up to something, but if there is aught to be learned of the final days, it's best we play along, for now at least. Here we are. By the way, my plan today is to try and get anything that remains on the moon done. Or at the very least get the dungeon done. And then I'll start editing episode, what am I up to? 17, 18, 19, 21, which will give me all the encodings I need for tonight. And then if I get the others ready, then that'll give me encodings for tomorrow. For reference, today is the 11th and episode 6 will be coming up today. That's how far ahead I've got. What other knowledge do you suppose we could glean from their archives? The architecture of this place is impressive, though more than a little confusing to navigate. Is it too much to ask for clearly marked exits, or a map, perhaps? The archives are right through this door, but it seems to be locked. I guess we'll have to go and find whoever has the key. Growing way, enough. If you have naught else to tell us of the final days, you need only say so. We can ill afford to be wasting times here, you know. You know. Did you yourself not tell us that we must act quickly? Yes, we did, but the moon was to be a perfect paradise for the people of Aetherius, and we're running out of time to make everything ready for their arrival. We hoped you'd see the wonders we have to offer, but you found nothing but faults and flaws in our work. Only one of you saw our potential, so the others must be kept here. So that's Living Way's game. Run us in circles, and failing that, lock us away so we can't put the plan at risk. Everyone except Urianger. He understands what's at stake, what must be done. I fear you misjudged us, Growing Way. Neither have we decried the notion of using the moon as a means as a means of escape. That said, my heart breaks at the thought of abandoning Aetheria and her reflections to their doom. If there is a way to avert the final days, I wish to find it. We all do. We may fail, but our efforts would never be at the expense of your plans. But why would you take that risk? There's no room for ifs, buts, and maybes now. The people of Etheria will escape here. To the moon. They'll be safe, and we'll finally get to see all their happy, smiling faces. I'm sorry, but we can't let you leave. We just can't. Do what you must, but try not to harm them or hurt them. I'll be back in a moment. Don't do anything rash while I'm gone. If we dally, they'll overwhelm us with sheer numbers. I say we knock these out and split, and make our way to the exit. Agreed. Let us reconvene where Argus awaits outside. I guess these guys are mine. Sorry, but this will hurt you way more than it'll hurt me. He's too powerful! We have to save him. Oh, that was Growing Way. Yeah, that is the same spot. I was just thinking, while we wander our way over to the exit rather than making a cut, if anybody heading to there comes at the wrong time, they're going to see that there are people fighting Lopits, which kind of ruins, I wouldn't say the surprise, but it tells them, it's like, okay, you're about to fight them to get out of here. It indicates the direction the story is literally about to go. But yeah, it's not exactly enough stuff there to make it a duty itself, so... Catch 22, I suppose. There you are. You didn't rough them up too badly, did you? I may have singed their fur a lot, but I think they'll live. Good, you're here. We must hurry to the Watcher's Palace and find Urianger.
And what, pray tell, do we seek at the Watcher's Palace?
Oh, come off it, friend. You know full well why we're here. The time has come for you to return to Etheris and help your brethren prepare for their journey here and beyond.
Forgive me, Living Way, but I cannot in good conscience proceed with this plan.
Huh? But what about the final days? The death and the doom? Oh, we have to hurry before it's too late.
Your unflagging commitment to your duty is endearing, to say the least.
Oh, bugger!
Be at ease. They bear you no grudge, nor do I. How could we, having come to understand your purpose? For millennia, you and yours worked tirelessly towards the singular purpose of this heavenly vessel's construction. An arduous feat by any measure. It is clear you have spared no effort. Why, your very names are a testament to your dedication.
Our names? I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at.
Names are an expression of the self, a declaration of one's hopes and aspirations. Your use of contemporary, uncomplicated nomenclature doth ensure clarity of purpose. There can be no doubt that your love for the people of Aetheris is boundless and pure.
Yes! Yes! A most mellifluous phrasing! We Loperids were born of Heideland's love for Aetheris. That shining, shimmering blue jewel, brightest star in the sky, brimming with life and possibilities. For as long as I can remember, I've toiled in anticipation of the day when this vessel might be needed.
I recognise your voice. I don't mind you using voice actors, but that is the Nomu that we meet in the second, or in 5.1, the one that is a specialist on etherology related to the soul and memories.
All I've ever wanted was to meet those she cherished so dearly, to serve and serve well.
Or at the very least, the I think the word would be the timbre of their voice sounds almost identical to it, even if the actual pitch is slightly different.
That goes for all of us. Don't you see? So help us. Help us help them. Lead them here where we can keep them safe. If there's anything wrong with what we've built, we'll fix it. We'll make it right.
Your works want not for repair. Yet there remaineth much for you to learn of men, and your own kin besides. Singing Way, thy name bespeaketh more than the simple marriage of rhythm and rhyme. The songs of Aetheris are beyond counting, and span the length and breadth of emotion. Maps are monuments to man's pioneering spirit and his devotion to charting the furthest reaches of our star. Many have devoted their lifetimes to exploratory pursuits, to venture unto the highest mountains and the deepest oceans in search of unknown frontiers. And thou, my friend, I do not think we've met.
My name is Puddingway.
Yes, I think about this one.
Puddingway? Yes, indeed. A name of deep and abiding significance, I'm sure, but one perhaps better communicated through delicious deeds than tasteless words. A judicious application of fey magics at a later juncture may be appropriate. And Living Way. 'Tis no easy feat to convey the significance of thy moniker. When I was a bookish boy, a dear friend of mine was fond of peppering me with questions as I read, to my occasional annoyance. One day, I posed to her a question of mine own. What doth it mean to live? After much contemplation, she proffered this answer. The anticipation of a half-read story's conclusion. the hope today's mistake may serve as tomorrow's lesson. The wish that a new acquaintance may one day call thee friend. She believed it to be all these moments and more.
I want to understand, but
I, too, still labor to find mine own answer. 'Twould be my pleasure to assist you and yours in embarking on a journey of self-discovery and enlightenment. For thee. Ink as blue as the waters of Aetheris. Made in haste, though I assure thee, the quality has not suffered for it. The people need not be persuaded by honeyed words. Nay, I have faith they shall do what is right in due course. Until they do, I beg your patience, friends. And with that ink, let us fill the empty pages of Living Way's compendium. An open exchange of ideas will surely afford you all a better understanding of modern man, and with it, ideas for improvements and renovations. But more importantly, it shall empower us to together find a way forward.
I hope you're right. Thank you for this lovely gift.
There you have it. I shall remain with the Loporrits to ensure that all is in order. Though we must needs prepare for every eventuality, you would all agree that the evacuation of our star is a last resort. To accept failure is to accept the demise not only of our star, but that of Reen's, of all reflections, and the souls that call them home. Which is why I have every faith that you shall fight to the last, that such drastic measures may prove unnecessary.
Should the worst come to the worst, and I pray deeply that it won't, I'll take comfort in knowing preparations were made under your watchful eye.
Aye. Thou mayest be assured that if calamity cometh, not a soul will be left behind, if being the operative term.
That flower, how came it into your possession? Of course the Watcher's here. He's the Watcher. He was watching our exchange. How very like her. Guided by its light, you may come to know her true intentions. Intentions which remain a mystery even to us. In our time, we called it the Elpis. You would do well to remember the name. God damn it. I'm not gonna say anything, but I know what Elpis is. Or at least I've got a decent... I know what type of thing it is.
I hate to interrupt, but I feel like I need to make amends for all the secrecy.
Think nothing of it. We haven't been the most gracious of guests. Do convey our apologies to Growingway and the others.
But of course! And when next we welcome more guests from Aetheris, we'll have learned to be much more hospitable hosts. Oh, and circling back to the matter of inappropriate secrecy, we ought to discuss our benefactors.
The Sharlians.
Agreed. The Charleyan Forum, yes?
What? How did you know?
It was obvious from the start.
The more I heard, the more obvious it became. The Forum's aims align closely with those of your anonymous patrons. A telling coincidence would be an understatement. Though had we not taken it upon ourselves to peruse certain restricted tones in Labyrinthos, we might still be unaware of their plans. But let us continue this discussion upon our return. I dare say we have kept Alphino and the others waiting long enough.
Is the level 85 dungeon not on the moon? Does that mean we're coming back here later? Maybe. We're about to get flying. I chanced to spy your crossing the chasm. I feared something was amiss. But all's well, and more importantly, I have been given the opportunity to behold a wonderful sight. Keep the eclipse close, and its light will be your guide. The Declaration of Hope and Aspiration. A Declaration of Hope and Aspiration. I hadn't thought of it that way before. The Loprits may be in good hands now, but that doesn't change the fact that their plans is a last resort I'd rather not employ. Let's see it doesn't come to that for the first and all the other reflections. The Loprits think so highly of the people of Aetherius, yet it seems this evacuation plan is the only way they know to express their adoration. If we had been more clear in our intentions from the start, mayhaps we could have avoided this wrinkle. Something to keep in mind in the future. Puddinway! Nice to meet you. My name's Puddinway. Sorry again for all the trouble. We promise we'll do better. Honest. The others will be happy to hear Urianger is going to stay and teach us all about Aetherius. We have to be careful not to get too distracted by his lessons. There's still maintenance to carry out, after all. Well, that was rather embarrassing, wasn't it? Well, at least we're on the same page now. People and Aetherius. We'll save both, or at least give it a good try. Make sure everyone listens to Urianger. Tell Greenway I look forward to our next walk together. Yeah, we did kind of pummel the poor guy into the ground. I will. I'm sure he'll be glad to hear it. There's little I can do to stop the final days, or to help stop the final days. But should you need to know of stars traversals, look no further. Such knowledge I can offer in abundance, so do not hesitate if you find yourself wanting. 'Twas a relief to see Livingway, was pleased with my gift of ink. To serve and serve well, though their knowledge may be lacking, their boundless love is a blessing without peer. It'll be no easy task to prepare them for what must needs be done, but gladly do I embrace this duty, even if it does necessitate that we part ways for a time. Forgive my absence, but I have the utmost faith in you, in all our fellow scions. When next I return to Aetherius, I pray I find you all in good health and good spirits. Me too. Freebird! Okay. I cannot believe I've missed this corner. Gods damn it. There's a decent amount of flying here to be done. I will be right back while I pump some little bit of experience into my Gunbreaker. Who knows, maybe I will bring you along for this flight and just speed it all up. Okay, we all done. Let's get back. And talk to everyone again. Actually, I don't think we need to. I think we just need to talk to Urianger, and then we can continue on with whatever the next quest is. I need not remind you of the dangers we face, or the countless lives at stake, both in the source and its reflections. Go with courage, my friend, and pray give the others my regards. Your excursions on the moon concluded, Y'shtola is keen to return to Etheris. With the Loprits in Urianger's capable hands, we need not worry about affairs here in our absence. Knowing now the face of their earthly collaborators, there is much to discuss with Alphino and the others. Let us return to the Tower of Babel. Our battle for the star will soon begin in earnest, and we must be prepared. Okay, so we're going back to the tower, which means we're using the teleporter over here. I'd forgotten how cold it was here in Garlemald, a testament to the Loprits' ingenuity that I felt no such discomfort on the moon. Gods, I can scarcely believe we went to the moon and back. But we'll have time to reflect on that later. Right now, we need to head back to Camp Broken Glass and deliver a thorough report to Lucia. I'd very much like to know how everyone is getting on, how everyone is getting on down here as well. They had only just begun to treat the tempered prisoners when we left. I share your curiosity, but warning our allies of the final days is of greater import. I speak not only of the contingent, of course. The heads of state of every nation must know what we have learned. We know not when or where or in what manner the final days will begin to manifest, so we must see that everyone is prepared. Agreed, though we may wish to stress the importance of discretion, lest the public be sent into a panic. Not that anyone is in a position of responsibility should need to be told as much, but it bears repeating. Anyway, first things first, to Camp Broken Glass. By the way, you can press Control to bring the Aetherites up onto the top of the map, so you can click them if there are other things in the way. This concludes your only pro tip you're getting from me today. Nathan, at last you are returned. I am also the wrong class. I am surprised it let me start the quest. It certainly wouldn't let me hand it in if I hadn't changed it back. It's good to see you again, or you all again. No worse for your lunar adventure, I hope. We've done what we can for now, and believe me, we intend to tell you all about it. But before we do, might you tell us what became of Garlemald in our absence? We succeeded in subduing the tempered inside the Tower of Babel. We took many alive, but combined with those who were already in our custody, the number requiring care has grown exponentially. The inclemented conditions here have made it difficult, if not impossible, to treat them all here. So we have petitioned the aid of the allied nations. Some are, understandably, hesitant to proffer assistance, particularly those that were but recently subject to imperial occupation. That said, several others have agreed to grant them refuge for treatment. With the assistance of your fellow scions, we endeavoured to see them safely transported and subsequently cured of their tempering. Will all the tempered be relocated? No, not at all. We have sufficient shelter to attend to those whose treatment has begun, and enough healers have volunteered to remain until their patients have recovered. Julius is one such patient, though he has not yet seen fit to receive visitors. Truth be told, it was a miracle he and all those in his company were not harmed in the chaos. If not for Alphino and Alice's timely assistance, I dare say none of them would be with us today. In light of recent developments, have the Alliance leaders come to any decisions regarding Garlemald? Given the tremendous ramifications of what has happened here, it will take time to determine what must be done. In the meantime, they intend to work with the Eastern Alliance to keep a close watch over the provinces. We have other news to share. Shortly after Anima was defeated, we received reports that each and every tower has vanished. For Mercy, the process was apparently not quite as violent as you experienced in Favnia. One sec. The rumbling in my voice was caused by something at the back of my throat. Those who were trapped within them have been rescued and are receiving treatment. To hasten this endeavour, the beast tribes have reduced or received instructions in magics needed to cure tempering. Master Matoya is no doubt thrilled. Master Matoya is no doubt thrilled to be the mother of Porxes. Let's try again, because that's still read wrong. Master Matoya is no doubt thrilled the mother Porxie afforded her so many visitors. Ah, right, now I understand. Master Matoya is no doubt thrilled that there's a that missing. That the mother Porxie afforded her so many visitors. That's why it read wrong. There's a word missing for that to make proper sense to me. Technically, it's still correct, but I would have if I had said that to myself, I would have said that the. Yes, we are grateful for her ongoing efforts, as well as those of our comrades near and far. Good lord, it's a good job. This is probably going to be the last episode today. As for the contingent, several of our members have been granted leave to return to their homelands after the transfer of the Tempered has been completed. Lucio and I will remain, along with a small force, to continue offering aid to those here in Garlemald. The Empire may be no more, but there are yet those who call these lands home. I believe that accounts of recent events here. So, what of the moon and the Telophoroi? The final days. Gods, I prayed your victory would mark the end of our troubles. There is still much we do not know, but the Alliance leaders must be told. Would you be willing to contact them in our stead? Yes, of course. I will send word forthwith. We'll also release your fellow Scions from their present duties, that they may return to Sharlayan. Your energies are better spent finding a means to avert the coming apocalypse. Speaking of your fellow Scions, you will be happy to hear that Mistress Kryl, though still on the mend, has been moved to the Baldessian Annex and given into Tataru's care. Thank you. I look forward to seeing them both upon our return. Let us be on our way then. One last thing, if I may. After your confrontation with Zodiark, you say Xenos took his leave, and in all likelihood has returned to here to Garlemald. I have a mind to dispatch scouts to try and ascertain his whereabouts, but first wish to ask if you believe there is merit in doing so. If they found him, they would not likely live to tell the tale. If you're expecting a trail of destruction to follow, you won't find one. An admirable but futile endeavour. We'll go with the first one, which is probably the truth. If they found him, he would probably kill them. I suppose you're right. To dispatch good soldiers in pursuit of such a beast would be to send them to their deaths. Pray, forget I entertained the notion. While I'm on the subject of Xenos, the 10th Legion has made an official proclamation. They denounced the Crown Prince and condemned his role in the Empire's downfall. His very title has become the source of shame among his former subjects, and its continued use ever serves only to hinder relationships with foreign nations. For this reason, he has been declared as Xenos Victus Galvus, outcast and enemy of Garlemald. Vietas, I think. Vietos. Vietor? Vietor? Vietor. Fandaniel is no more, and now his people turn against him. It seems like he's not his naught but his bloodlust to keep him company. Better that than any army to see it sated. At any rate, I will not keep you any longer. I pray you safe passage back to Charlian. Once my countrymen have recovered, it falls to me to tell them what became of Xenos and the Empire. I realise there is no kindness in withholding the truth, but it will wound them. Your findings will be relayed to the Alliance leaders word for word, and should we spy anything out of the ordinary here in Garlemald, all shall be informed at once. Oh, did we... Yeah, everyone has already just disappeared back to the Valesian Arsenal. I'm just wondering if Serena's still about. And the rest of her Azim compatriots. I don't think so, at least not here. Okay, let's head back toward Charlia. We might be in for a message telling us that we are about to watch a series of cutscenes and should set aside sufficient time to watch them in their entirety. We should cancel any pending duty requests. Oh, it's good to see you, and free from chilblains, I take it. You'll be pleased to know everything's been kept in order since you have been away. I even brought a few useful knickknacks with me from back home. But no sooner had they arrived than I received word of Kryl being in poor in health. And you on the moon! If you had managed to give me a fright, if you meant to give me a fright, you succeeded. Welcome back, Nathan. We were so terribly worried about you. Though it is plain that I have caused my own fair share of worry, and for that I apologise. Heidelin called to me the day that you entered the Tower of Babel. Her pleas were faint but desperate, and I knew at once she required a vessel to carry out her will. What came after feels like a dream barely remembered. My body flowing through the life stream towards Garlemald. When I regained consciousness, it was all aches and frostbites, exhausted of ether. So exhausted, in fact, I could only laugh. For it was in that moment that I understood Raha's weariness from the Tower of Zot. What that I could laugh at a time like this. Though we prevented Zodiac from being unleashed upon the world, I'm curious to know what else took place there on the moon. Perhaps we should wait for the others to join us before you give your account. Let us rendezvous in the main hall once they arrive. Wait at the designated location. I assume the designated location is in here because I cannot see it on the map. Yeah. It was the fact they didn't walk into the main hall. They just said, let's wait in the main hall, but they didn't then walk into the main hall. That I couldn't see the quest marker on the map telling me to use the entrance to the main hall. Anyway, this is almost certainly voiced, so I'll shut up. It is not. Oh dear. Let me have a sip of tea. Alrighty then. Sorry to have kept you all waiting. Not at all. We understand that you've been quite busy. Will Urianger be joining us? Duty keeps him away, I'm afraid, though Nathan can explain why better than I. Well, you see, all of this shit happened on the moon, and it's all going to hell. Blah 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 blah. The final days, as befell Amarot. And we are to escape via the moon? What are the source and its reflections? I have no intention of standing by while the world falls to ruin. So, how do we stop this? Unfortunately, we have no answers at present. If the celestial currents have grown stagnant, as was the case in the time of Amarot, the solution would be to alter the flow of ether throughout the entirety of the star. The ancients accomplished this by summoning Zodiac, sacrificing half the star's population in doing so. But it should go without saying that such a sacrifice cannot be repeated. Which leaves us with a daunted task of identifying the underlying catalyst for the final days, a feat which even the Amarotians could not accomplish. Unfortunately, we found no clues in Mare Lamentorum. There's still much we do not know about the catastrophe itself, let alone what may have caused it. The final days were marked by the corruption of the Amarotians' creation magics, but we command no such power, which invites the question, what havoc is in store for us? If we knew that much, perhaps we could draw some parallels with the events of the past, and thereby form some semblance of a plan. Perhaps we should start with the Forum, then. Having worked with the Loprits in secret all this time, there is surely much more they can tell us. Forgive the interruption, but I have urgent news. The Forum is holding a public assembly in the plaza outside. Some sort of announcement. What is Father up to now? There's only one way to find out. We didn't get a series of cutscenes warning, so this shouldn't take too long.
Order! Order, I say! I thank you all for gathering here on such short notice. This day we must speak of grave affairs and their implications for the future of Sharlayan, nay, of this very star. Said affairs concern all citizens, and so we have called for a public assembly. You may have heard rumors of the Talopheroi and the havoc these madmen wreak abroad. Under normal circumstances, we would pay little heed to petty disturbances outside our borders. The final days, however, are another matter altogether. For we dare not ignore these prophetic words of Eld. The Endbearers will come, ushering chaos and calamity. The final days descend and devour the very star.
I've never heard this prophecy.
Is it true? Will all that really happen?
Calm yourselves. The time has come to speak of the Forum's most sacred duties. But first...
Give voice to the voiceless. Let bindings be unbound. By unanimous decree, I declare the enchantment broken.
They're removing the paint from their memories. Or the ink from their memories.
Master Leveilleur, if you would.
Very well. "270 years ago, our forebears began an expedition in the Dravanian hinterlands, in search of a route to access the ethereal sea. This much is public knowledge. Their findings, however, would become the Forum's most closely guarded secret. What those researchers discovered in the hinterlands was not a passage unto the ethereal sea, but the very heart of our star, and Hydaelyn herself. She spoke to them of a calamity that would extinguish all life, and of a means by which we might be spared. The moon. 'Tis in truth a gargantuan vessel built to serve as sanctuary for her children and deliver them from this doom. Much like Nunkref's hope in ages past, it will bear the people of a world in the throes of death to a new home.
Needless to say, this will be no small undertaking. To facilitate the great work, the Forum has maintained close contact with the servants of Hydaelyn, who presently reside on the moon. Convinced that the foretold end was all but inevitable, we began amassing a wealth of knowledge, not merely for the betterment of our nation, but in preparation for the journey to come.
You reveal this to us now? By the gods, how long do we have?
While we cannot say with certainty, we believe the hour to be nigh. We received a transmission from the moon suggesting as much not long ago. Which is why we must in earnest begin preparations for the great exodus. For his impressive contributions and the leadership he demonstrated during our withdrawal from Dravania, we have elected Master Leveilleur to oversee this initiative.
Fellow scribes and scholars, my countrymen, we face a threat of unprecedented scale. We must challenge the trials before us with composure and conviction if we are to find salvation. The wisdom of Sharlayan has ever been a shining beacon in the darkness, and so it shall continue to be. It is our solemn charge to see our heritage preserved for future generations. For those who will come after, we will brave a new frontier.
And what of the rest of the world and its peoples? Someone asked the question.
Administrative edicts will be relayed to all major institutions ere long. In the meantime, carry on with your duties. With that, I hereby call this assembly to a close.
Do you remember what Mother told us when we visited home? That it wasn't until after we were born that Father seemed to lose himself in his work. If that great work of his was the evacuation of this star, then...
Yes. It wasn't for his benefit. Would you mind waiting here a moment? I wish to speak with Father before we leave.
Take your time.
Thank you. I shan't be long.
If it's all the same to you, I have a few choice words to share with Father as well.
So, come to call us cowards and bid us join your fruitless battle against the inevitable.
Nay, we do not object to the Forum's proposal. On the contrary, those who wish to flee have every right to do so. Urianger is cooperating with your associates on the moon to ensure that all is ready should evacuation be our only recourse.
Then whatever your business, I suggest you be brief.
Though we cannot boast the boundless wisdom of Sharlayan, we have first-hand knowledge of foreign cultures, and have conversed with no small number of peoples. These experiences have taught us fundamental truths that cannot be recorded in any tome, nor charted on any map. The beating heart of this planet is its people, many of whom would give anything, even their lives, to protect the lands they love. Many may choose to join you in the end. But what of those unwilling or unable, for whom escape will never be an option? What would you have them do? To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, Father. It is indolence. This is why we choose to fight.
We'll not ask for your understanding, Father. Only that you don't turn a blind eye to the good we have done. That we can still do. We're not children in need of protection. Hold fast to your principles and let the world burn if it please. But we believe there is still another way. And if there is, we will find it. You see if we don't.
Do as you will. Just stay out of our way.
Were he not so consumed with self-righteousness, he might tell you how proud he is of you both.
Bold words call for bold action. And there'll be no turning to your father should plans go awry.
As if I ever would. So long as there are those who wish to stay and fight for this star, we have to do what we can to help them.
And if we're to do that, we'll need to be well rested. Wouldn't you agree? And having triumphed over what we once thought to be the source of all evil, I can think of no one in greater need of at least a dozen winks.
Shall we then? To the Annex, to prepare for tomorrow.
Let's quickly nip over there. Crowd tells me the forum made a rather monumentous announcement. So there's to be a great exodus, is there? I'm reminded of my narrow escape from Isle of Val. The realization, the run-in, the mixture of relief and regret. After. Why me, I ask myself. Why me? Why us? Why now? Why wonder? There's no use fretting over the cosmic moralities or lack thereof. We're here, and we'll get through this together. And who knows? Maybe with my luck, maybe my luck will rub off and grant everyone a narrow escape. There's no harm in praying for as much. Oh, but enough of my rambling. I'm sure you're exhausted. Your chambers await. A visitor has come knocking at your door. Whoever could it be? Good question. Do we only get to pick one of these? I imagine if I had to guess accurately, I would say it's more likely going to be Grahatir, but if this is the same as it was in Shadowbringers, then whoever I pick is at the door, and I'd like to see what your stroller has to say.
You're still awake. Good. Might I trouble you to stand still for a moment? Nothing appears out of the ordinary. A precautionary measure. You will recall that serving as a vessel for abundant light in the First very nearly ended poorly. In your recent battle on the Moon, you were almost certainly exposed to similar, if not greater, forces. Fortunately, from what I can see, you and your ether are none the worse for wear. Would that Reen were here to confirm my assessment. To think you actually found yourself in a direct confrontation with Zodiac. As if Xenos gallivanting about in your body was not misfortune enough. Did you so grossly offend every single deity in a past life that they saw fit to place a curse upon your soul? Forgive me. That was in poor taste. I recall vividly how battered and broken it was in the depths of Amarot. Would that you could have seen it with your own eyes. Mayhap then you would understand why the greater part of me is glad you did not. It was a horror beyond description. Promise me you will be careful, that you will seek my counsel if you feel unwell.
Of course.
That puts my heart at ease, if only a touch. I suspect it will grow colder as the night wears on, so do be sure to stay warm. Sleep well, and may the shadows keep you.
A short while earlier, in the Alamegan quarter,
Thank the gods that tower is gone. The sight of it was enough to make me sick.
Thank the Ilsebar contingent, more like. Word is, they fought their way into Garlemald and toppled the bloody thing themselves. Not just the one, neither. All the towers have up and vanished.
Aye, I heard the same. Commander Aldin and his troops helped keep casualties to a minimum, too. But is it true they brought back tempered Garlean soldiers?
As Commander Aldin tells it, they've a treatment for that now. But don't you worry. Cured or not, they've no plans to bring them into the city proper.
I see. Well, that's a relief then. I know we've brothers and sisters among the lot, but I can't say I'm eager to welcome them home.
Wanted to think about it for a while yet. They're to be looked after in Alagana for the time being.
meanwhile, in Ishgard,
another day, another commission of paramount importance. Well, what have we here? Hey, are you all right? Was that? No. The shadows play tricks, nothing more. The towers are gone, and the Garlean threat is abated. Yet, why does it feel as though it's about to get much, much worse?
I guess we're heading back to Fafnir next. Let's disappear into our room. We'll call it there for today. At least we'll call it there for continuing on with the main story quest. I have other things I need to be getting on with. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. The game has given us a lot to worry about. But we shall worry about it at a later date. So thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show, and hopefully I will see you next time. Cheerio.